Hey everyone, happy 2026. I am back with the second season of the Unspoken podcast. We are super excited to start the new year with such an incredible group of guests and topics. I've actually been holding on to this podcast since 2025, but during the hustle and bustle of the holidays did not feel like the right time to release this episode. So we are kicking off the new year with an incredibly impactful and empowering episode. I'm going to be joined by Denise Rediker from the Heartfelt Help Foundation and 3 of her pediatric heart transplant patient parents. And we're going to be talking about the ups and the downs, the ins and the outs of being a pediatric transplant family, specifically heart, and the things that kind of go along with that. You know, as many of our followers know, transplant is a continuous process and it doesn't just end when you come out of surgery. So there's often many things that continue financially, medically, socially, mentally post that transplant experience for not just the patient, but everyone around them. So I'm really excited to give that a shining light that it deserves. Before we delve into that, let's check out what CKF has coming up in 2026. We are kicking off the new year with a countdown to National Donor Day. You may be thinking, why are we getting on the train so early? But it is because we have the most incredible campaign called Sip and Save. If you haven't already checked it out, it is a National Donor Day campaign where we partner with coffee shops, restaurants, and bars all across the country to educate their customers about what it means to become a donor. CKF provides coffee sleeves, coasters, stickers, pamphlets, and more, all just to educate those going into that coffee shop, that bar, or that restaurant about what it means to become an organ donor. There is a QR code on the back of everything, so all they have to do is scan and sign up right then. We've had incredible success reaching thousands across the country thanks to you. And if you haven't already checked it out or got involved, what you can do is reach out to your local coffee shop, bar, or restaurant and see if they're willing to get involved. You then simply share the link with them to our website and they can place an order right there and then, and we will pack it and ship it right out to them. This year, we're adding a little bit of a challenge. Last year, South Carolina blew everybody out of the water, hosting the most Sip and Save events across their state. And so we're challenging you in your state to beat them, or beat anyone else out there and be the top state with the most Sip and Save events. So again, head to our website, chrisklugfoundation.org, to learn more about that. Next up, we are also counting down to when the CKF award nominations open for our 2026 awards. It will open on February 1st. If you haven't checked out what our CKF awards are already, we celebrate 3 individuals in the transplant and donation community for their commitment and dedication to raising awareness and to supporting others in the community. So we have our Hero Award aimed at a donor, living donor, or donor family member, or deceased, or in honor of a deceased donor who has inspired others with their decision to donate and continues to inspire others. And then we also have our Bounce Back Give Back Award, which was the founding award of this program, and it celebrates a transplant recipient who has gone on to inspire others, to educate others, and really just make a difference for those on the transplant waitlist. The last one is our community champion, and this is for anyone in the community who has gone above and beyond, whether that be a caregiver, a doctor, a nurse, a transplant coordinator, an OPO staff member, a nonprofit worker, pretty much anyone in the community who has really just made a difference and made an impact for individuals in their community. So it will open again on February 1st. The winners will join us here in Aspen for our annual Wine and Dine Gala and be the guests of honor. They will be flown out for a long weekend with a +1, and then they will be celebrated all year long through our socials, through our website, through this podcast and so many more ways. So it is a really great honor to celebrate those in the community that are unsung heroes and really deserve their hard work and dedication to be recognized. Again, check out our website, chrisklugfoundation.org, to learn more. And now, without further hesitation, I cannot wait to bring on this episode's guests. It's actually going to be a two-part series because we just got talking and the conversation just rolled and I could not stop it. So this is part one of our two-part series. So check it out. I want to say a huge thank you to everybody for joining us tonight. I'm really excited to start this conversation and, really delve into another topic that isn't discussed enough. So I really want to say thank you, and thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. My first question, and I'm going to start with Monique. Will you kind of walk us through your, journey as a heart transplant family, kind of what you experienced, or have experienced, just kind of outline that.
Yeah, so my son was born with a congenital heart defect that we knew would eventually turn into him needing a heart transplant. So he did go 16 years with his what they call half of heart, and then all his organs started to fail. So he went into triple organ failure. We didn't know what was going on. We are from like Southern California. No doctors there could figure out anything for him. So we reached out to Stanford and asked for a chance because they were just going to not do anything for him. So we did. We came up to Stanford and they were able to like immediately say, okay, it's time to list him. Otherwise, he's going to be listed for a triple organ, which he was initially listed for a heart and liver. But by faith and I don't know what else, he only needed the heart at the time of surgery. So, like I said, we are a family there's 9 of us total, 7 kids, me and my husband. And we had to relocate up here for a lot longer, right, Denise, than any of us anticipated. Yeah, and ever since transplant, we are just here. We are still on the monthly pass, sometimes 2 times. This month is going to be 3 times that we're here because he's had a lot of setbacks. We're waiting for the hope that comes with all this. But yeah, he's a super complicated kid, hard to figure out. And yeah, we're still doing the thing.
Wow, thanks for sharing that. You are braver than me. 7 kids, that's a big household. That's a loud household.
It's a loud household.
Best way to be, though. Mary, I'm going to go to you next. Can you kind of walk us through your journey through heart transplant?
Yeah, my daughter Bailey is now 3. She's a twin. We didn't know anything was wrong with her until probably about 4 weeks old. She just was not eating, vomiting a lot, seemed to have a lot of congestion, but her twin wasn't sick and our other kids weren't sick. So I took her to the ER a couple times. They kept telling me she's just sick, she'll get over it. And I just kept harassing her pediatrician. And then finally they ordered a chest x-ray to see if she had pneumonia. And that's when they saw that she had an enlarged heart. And so we're Kaiser patients. So Kaiser, they can't handle that. So they sent her directly to Stanford. And that night that they transferred her, they told me that she was in heart failure at 8 weeks. She was 8 weeks old. Yeah. And then, oh no, yeah, she was 8 weeks old. And then 2 days later, they put her on an LVAD. And then we listed her. She had dilated cardiomyopathy. So they listed her a week later, and then she got a heart 3 weeks later. So everything was very, very fast, which has pros and cons with it. We didn't have time to really process any of the trauma while we were going through it. So she got the heart really fast, but then there was just complications with other things in her little body. She was only 12 weeks old when she got it, so just really little. We were in the ICU for about 6 months. Her and I lived there while my husband was home with our 3 other kids. And then we were transferred to the floor. And usually when you get transferred to the floor, that's when you start getting ready to go home or to figure out where you're going to be living and where, and all that. But because of her journey, we were in the ICU for so long. We were actually only on the floor for, I think, 2 days before they discharged her. It was really fast. So Denise So we didn't, before we get into Denise, I'm sorry. So we didn't really know where we were gonna live. Our lease was ending, so we actually had to move. So we had just had to pay for all the moving expenses at the exact same time that Bailey was going to get discharged. So not knowing exactly what we were gonna do or where we were gonna go, but her journey has been very complex as well. She's in the hospital every 2 to 3 weeks. So August was the first month of this year where she actually wasn't admitted. But that's about what we're doing about every 2 to 4 weeks she's being admitted at Stanford for something. So she's got like 4 new diagnoses since her heart transplant. So her heart's doing great.
That's the hard part, right? It's like you think that this is going to like kind of cure us or cure our children for some time, but then we've experienced the same thing, Mary. Like more things keep coming on. We're just like, okay.
I think, yeah, a lot of heart patients is maybe different to, some of the other transplants. It's a very quick process quite often. It's the opposite. Kidney, you wait a very long time to get that kidney, whereas heart, quite a lot of the time, it's a 3-week process, and you're through it, and you're kind of processing all of that afterwards, as opposed to maybe kidney where you're doing it in the 5 years you're waiting for that transplant. Okay, I'm gonna bring it over to the lady herself who brought everybody together. And Denise, tell us your story. I know, a lot of our listeners know your story, but we always love to hear it and hear, the connection that Mary and Monique both have with you.
Well, I am also a heart transplant recipient. End of January, I will be 8 years old, which I think still puts me in second grade, maybe third at this point, which sometimes I act like it. So all is good. I was in heart failure most of my life, but back then we didn't know, nobody looked for heart failure. Nobody looked for heart disease. That wasn't a thing, but we still don't have a genetic match, which is very interesting because my genetic anomaly is not matched to a particular heart disease currently. But when I was going through my own transplant, I realized how alone I felt, how expensive all of this was, how desperately I needed somebody to talk to that understood what I was going through, not just from a medical perspective, but just from a whole weird life perspective. And I also started wondering, how do people afford this? Because we can't afford this. How is anybody else affording this? And then realized that nobody else was, that it was just financially impossible to get through this amazing gift of life. This is super sacrificial gift of life that that ends up resulting for a lot of families in loss of home, loss of car. And so 5 years ago, we started Heartfelt Health Foundation to step in and help families financially recover as they physically recover. And that's how I know all three of these amazing, courageous, wonderful humans that are great parents and just all around amazing humans.
You do a great job of supporting everyone, and we're really happy to partner with you guys and, have such a strong connection with Heartfelt Health Foundation. You guys do great work. And I'm so excited to continue this conversation with everybody here. So, Denzel, I'm going to come to you next and just have you kind of introduce yourself and your family and your journey with heart transplant.
Of course. So my name is Denzel Washington. I am a father of three babies, soon to be four. I'm engaged to a beautiful, beautiful woman named Sarah. They're not here right now. They should be here shortly. I would love to show you guys them. Um, with my daughter, she's super sassy and full of life, questions, things like that. And I kind of just noticed off of kind of a fling that something was wrong. And we took her to her pediatrician and things like that multiple times. But it was always like a kind of like a shoo away because it was like a common cold thing. So we just went with it. Like they know better than what we know, I guess. They're doctors, but we also know our babies. So it was actually Easter, and I just noticed she was just not herself, very quiet to herself. And I had went to work and her mother called me. She was saying like, I just have a feeling we should take her into the ER. Took her to the ER. They did a lot of tests. They did a lot of they would kind of scan it is like the head and the body. They didn't really know what was wrong, but they knew that something was wrong because her stomach was like kind of hard. It was like hard parts of her stomach, and her eyes were super swollen. So like they couldn't diagnose it, so they sent us to Madeira, and that's where I guess like our life kind of changed. The doctor came after they did more tests. The doctor came in and told us basically like get ready, like our life is basically about to change. And they told us that our daughter was diagnosed with restrictive cardiomyopathy. You know, I didn't know that. I just didn't know. And basically, it kind of threw our whole world around. I mean, I don't. So I like Denise is probably the only person I ever really ever talked about like this with, so it's kind of hard for me to put it in words, and everything's kind of coming back. It's a little, still a little hard for me. But and then we got sent to Stanford, where basically they told us the only way she would survive or basically have like life going forward was a heart transplant. And to me and my family, we've never experienced anything like that. Like big surgeries, hospital stays, things like that, like people broken arms and things like that, but never major surgeries. So like it kind of threw me off guard. And sorry. Um, and she's just so small, you know? And the words and things that they were throwing at us and stuff like that, like I had no, I was not prepared for that. You know, like I've been through a lot of things in my life. And this journey changed me in ways that I never thought I would, you know, get to. But I'm so sorry guys. Basically
You're
just
good.
we got here. I didn't know how we really got there. I just knew it was happening, and my baby was sick and I felt helpless, and I had to put her into the hands of people that I've never met, never talked to. I'm in a whole nother world where there's so many little babies that are just going through things that like I've never been in that type of situation. So how we got there, I can't really explain it. It definitely, I'm sorry. It's like super hard for me to like put. I'm usually so well spoken, and I just but yeah, it was because we're still going through it, you know? Like, I'm pretty sure you guys
Mhm.
understand, like,
Mhm.
every day you wake up and there's that worry. No matter what it looks like, you're worried. And you're constantly hoping that, like, this wasn't our life, but we're here. And I'm glad to meet, I did meet a lot of parents in Stanford and stuff like that. And their journey was kind of similar as well. But I'm just a simple father. I want to provide for my kids. I want to give them the best life. And I just want them healthy. Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. I honestly don't really know how to put it into words. I can't stress that enough. But
That was perfect.
this journey is it's long. It's long.
It
So
was
that's how
perfect, Denzel. And if I were anywhere near you, I would give you a hug right now. You are doing an amazing job.
Me too.
thank you.
Thank you all for sharing. I mean, you all said that so beautifully, and I personally want to take my hat off to you because I can't imagine going through it with, a loved one, especially a kid. You want to do everything to protect them and to make, their lives perfect and never have to suffer, and to be there for them and to do all of this. Is that you are each absolutely incredible, and I just want to say that personally. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. That leads me right kind of into my next question. You all kind of said the journey doesn't just end when you get a transplant. That journey continues. Transplant isn't, it's not a cure, it is a treatment. And so I kind of want to ask, what are some of the challenges that you have faced since, receiving that transplant, since receiving that call that, maybe other parents could relate to going through this? And I'll just kind of open the floor and let you guys, anyone who wants to.
Okay. Like for us, I think that, we were, even though, so my son has had 10 open heart surgeries leading up to his transplant. So when we saw him get sick, he was so sick. He was so sick. He was blue. He would sleep literally 23 hours a day. And the wait for us, we had like, we got a call and then it ended up being a dry run. And then we got the call again. And when it did go through, I remember the feeling of like, maybe I'm a little bit different than you guys, but when I handed him off this time, all the other times I was always so worried, like, what if he comes back different? What if he doesn't come back smiling? That was always my biggest fear, sending him off. But this time, sending him off for transplant, I was so hopeful. I was so like, this is it. Like, this is it. This is going to bring back his energy. It's going to heal him. Like, even if it's, just a band aid or a treatment, it was hope. So he did really well initially after surgery. He had like a way faster recovery than any of us anticipated. He was over from the ICU over to the step down within 24 hours. He was talking. He did so well. And it was the challenges that we hit after. His kidneys were just not happy. It was little by little, but when we finally got home, I did get a glimpse of that, like, oh my gosh, my child's able to like walk home from school. He went back to school. He was like doing things with friends and walking home, and he started going to the gym. And I was like, who is this child? Okay, this is great. This was, thank you, the blessing that we had been waiting for. And then by May, he hit rejection. And since then, he wasn't even a year out. And since then, it has just been spiral after spiral. And you guys all know the financial part of this is like, you're trying to maintain a home down. We live in Orange County down in California. Come 8 hours up 2-3 times a week, leave our kids at home. Like, also don't have family. It's like this time around, I literally loaded all the kids up today and I'm like, you guys have to come. And so then you deal with, how do you say bye to a couple of your kids, come up here? And there's been, Denise, there's been quite a few times we've gone to clinic and end up in an emergency cath room. And all of a sudden I told my kids I was coming home and now I'm not. And now we're up here another 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So I think like the challenges for families is just something I would have never imagined. I thought it was going to be hard, but never, ever, ever could have thought it would have been this hard and for this long. So I think like a huge misconception is that people are like, oh my gosh, you've got a heart. Everything is great. Everything is beautiful. And while it is probably the best gift my son has ever received, it is still 2 years out, the hardest thing I've ever been through in 18 years with him.
I feel like I definitely can relate when it comes to like family and like the being apart. That was super hard. Like my son was barely turning 2 years old and having to leave him w- for 2, 3 days at a time. And where we live in Modesto County, it's about 2.5 hours away from Stanford, which, luckily we're not too far. But leaving him was like the biggest challenge because he was so small and those are like his growth years. And like I have family, but it's not the same as him being around like mom and dad and brother and sister. And for him to already know like where's Alina? Those are words that these are words he's barely learning, and some of his first words is Alina okay? Or where's Alina? Or like am I gonna get sick? Things like that. So that was very much a big challenge that we faced. And my daughter, I like she's super like daddy's girl. Like everywhere she's at, she wants me there. And another challenge that I faced with my family was my job. Like I couldn't just up and miss work a lot because if me missing work, I can't provide. I don't have like pension. I don't have like I'm not in a union. So like me leaving her and going to work and her being like, when are you gonna come, daddy? But I'm at work and then after work I have to go to my son because he needs me as well. And mom's pregnant, so I have to go and be there for her because she can't do too much. She's in the hospital. And like I'm not a woman, but going through pregnancy, the emotion and the strain that you have to sit there and watch your daughter have all these cords and things come out of her. Blood loss, shots, medicine, her laying there not talking for 2 weeks, breathing tube in her mouth. Like I felt like I was trying to get a hold of everything, but the challenges kept coming kind of after everything was like done. Like, okay, we got through her getting her VAD. That was like a hard wait. So she gets her VAD, and now the hard thing is like being there, seeing her go through these things. My son wants to see his sister. Like, I don't want to expose him too much to it. So like he sees her and he can't see her. And then my fiance, like she's watching her daughter go through like the risk of losing my job, like that a part time is definitely something I can relate to. And like the post
Mm-hmm.
like surgeries, like after the surgery or after the nightmare we had, like handing her, like you said, handing her off to the doctors. Like, is she gonna make it through that surgery? Am I gonna get that call that everything's going good? Why haven't they called in 5 hours or they haven't called at the right time? Like those were challenges that were super big that I like kind of dawned on like, wow, like it's not all about just getting the organ. It's about living through it after they receive it
Mm-hmm.
because like that's when the stuff happens. Like people are like, your child, okay, they've had their surgeries, they're good. Now your rent is due. Now your insurance is due. Now groceries need to be put in the fridge. Now school needs to come back around. That part is definitely something I can for sure relate to. Like after it happens and after it's done, it was a lot of obstacles that came after that.
Yeah. Trying to just like survive two places at once and keep everybody together and not lose it because you do have to be the strength for your family, right? You have to be, I can't remember like how many nights my kids were so worried about their brother and I couldn't cry and I would have to just put on, the happy face and be like, your brother's fine. Everything is going to be okay. And they would call me like in the middle of the night, mommy, like, is he okay? Is he going to live? Is he going to die?
Yeah,
How do you answer those questions? Because we don't know, right? Our reality is we don't know. We don't have
yeah.
an answer. So the deep, hard conversations that come for siblings and what siblings go through is just, I think, a whole nother part that people just don't ever understand. The siblings get it just as hard emotionally, I think, as us parents.
Just listening to both Monique and Denzel just talk about it, all I keep thinking is trauma and how much trauma surrounds organ donations on both sides, right? Um, it's a very traumatic event, s I'm just gonna speak for myself, but I have a lot of guilt when it comes to feeling like I may be ungrateful, right? I am so grateful for the heart that is keeping my daughter alive and has kept her alive for 3 years, but that doesn't mean that I can't say this sucks, and I can't say that this is hard. And I can't say that my kid's life sucks right now because of all of the trauma. We as a family have trauma from all of our separation that we constantly have. And then we have all of the historical trauma from the actual transplant that we haven't been able to deal with. And people will say, well, kids are resilient. And I think it's such a cop out. Yeah, kids are resilient, but that doesn't mean that they don't need help working through the trauma or help working through their emotion. And I mean, my kids, my 6 and 8-year-old, are in therapy. And I knew very early on, like, these kids need to be in therapy as much as mom and dad need to be in therapy. And we all are in therapy. And it's constant, it's this duality of of living, of dealing with what happened, dealing what's happening, and dealing with what may happen. And I was just speaking to my therapist today about how I am trying to learn how to live in the past, present, and future at one time. And it is exhausting. And my kids live in that. Imagine how exhausting that is for kids. And I don't know how much of myself to put in any one of those areas of my life. How much do I invest in healing from the past? How much do I invest in trying to just get through today? And how much do I invest in being hopeful for tomorrow? And all this to say doesn't mean I'm not grateful for the child who donated and his family who donated life to my family and life to my daughter. And I don't know about other parents or other transplant recipients, but there's so much guilt that I fight with all the time about having to be, I can be great, allowing myself to be grateful, but at the same time mourn.
Yeah.
And I am mourning and I'm still mourning. and we don't give ourselves time to grieve. Like I should, and this is one a conversation I had with Denise pretty early on. The first time we came home after like 8 months, the first time I came home with Bailey, and I was like, I don't know how to live. Like I don't know how to go through a day to day, knowing that my daughter may not live till tomorrow or the next day or who knows, you know? And
Yeah.
nobody knows it. It's a secret. Like nobody knows the fears that us parents live with a heart transplant child because it's not well known, it's not documented, it's not talked about, it's not fundraised like these other chronic, diseases. And I'm not saying like rather my child or rather have her have something else. What I'm saying is with the lack of knowledge that is out there, it causes isolation for the families. We are isolated. And I even felt isolated from other heart families because everybody's journey is so unique to
Yeah.
itself that even within that, it's like we're not all the same. And a lot of times my friends, they mean well, they're like, oh, but you have other heart families to talk to. I'm like, yeah, I do. But they're going through the chronic admissions as much as I am.
Yeah.
Or they're not going through the chronic admissions, and I don't want them to even think about that part. Like, they're living life great, like, good for their baby. I don't want them to think about all this sucky stuff, and
Yeah.
so I'm always in the middle of, like, who do I reach out to? I don't know how to get support. I'm exhausted. I don't wanna have to explain all of Bailey's diagnoses. I don't wanna have to explain all of Bailey's medications. I don't wanna have to explain this to anyone because I'm pretty sure, like Denzel, Monique, we spend so much emotion and our intelligence and being able to discuss medical things with the medical staff, with everybody's responsible for their medical care. Like we have to be medically in tuned, right? We have to speak their language. We are the hub for our child. We are the center of everything. And that's what keeps our child alive. And I have no energy to give to anybody else other than that because for me, and for a lot of us, it's life. It's death or life. And anybody outside of this community does not understand that. They see a happy baby, they see a
Can
kid going to
understand.
school, they see a kid going to the gym, and they don't understand that we're living with this chronic trauma,
Yeah.
past, present, and future, on top of having to pay bills, on top of having to spend time with our other kids, which I don't know about Denzel, Monique, but I have incredible, persistent guilt about not spending time with my other kids.
All the
Everything
time.
is
Definitely.
Bailey.
Yes.
I'm adding trauma. I am. I'm adding trauma to my kids' trauma about being separated because when I'm here, I'm not here. I'm not. And so I have to, I have learned that I have to be okay that my life sucks right now. And
Yeah.
I have to be okay that I'm grateful too, and I have to be okay that this is what was handed me. And you know what? I'm going to be okay. My kiddos are going to be okay because they have a mom and a dad who love them
Yeah.
and they have a mom and a dad who are going to fight for them. And we have, and we will continue to do so. But we're not perfect. It's messy. This life is messy and it
Yes.
sucks. And I can't think of a more intelligent word to say, but that this life can suck. It really can. But it doesn't mean that it's not beautiful at times.
Towards
I
that
think
end,
like yeah.
I think looking at all of you and walking with you through all of your adventures to and through transplant, I mean, the one consistent thing is that your heart lives outside your body. It's sitting either on a hospital bed with your kid, it's in a conversation, it's somewhere else outside of you. And the concept of dealing with your trauma when it's over is a lovely thought, except it's never over. Never over. And you guys are looking at consistent trauma, whether it's readmissions, whether it's just the fear of what might happen, the knowledge that your kid is forever immunosuppressed, that their life is always going to look different, even if they cartwheeled themselves out of the hospital. Monique and I were talking about this the other day because it's just critical, I think, for parents to talk to each other in groups of similar complexities of recovery kids, because it's not fair for the kids who, or the parents of the kids who practically cartwheeled their way out of the hospital, which nobody cartwheels their way out of the hospital, but you know what I mean, as opposed to the kids who are just chronically readmitted. And it's just two different recovery adventures.
I want to, Mary, tell you, I hear you, I see you, I'm here. Like, I'm kind of like, quote unquote, a veteran mom in this because we've been doing this 18 years. But I can say I 100% relate to you because we were always we're already in the rare group, right? Like, but I was always the rarest in the rare in the rare. And people like in our own community did not understand. So I felt very isolated, very alone for so long. Denise was probably the one that got me to open up the most to anybody because I hid. I didn't want to share our story. I didn't want to share our journey. I always felt like if I ignored it, it will just go away. It'll go away. And then I would stay up all night and cry and like research and look up stuff because I'm like, that guilt and like grieving, even though your child is still here, you grieve all of the things that they are not able to do. I grieve the fact that like he just missed homecoming. It's his last homecoming ever because why? We're up here. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm telling myself right now, like, please let him have Halloween. Please, like, everything has been taken from him. Everything has been taken from him these past 2 years. And then, I think another big part of this is there's this grief that I carry as a mom where I grieve our donor. And I don't know if anybody else experiences this. I have a relationship with them. I have a relationship with the mom. I talk to the mom almost on a daily basis. And her son was my son's exact age at the time of donation. And the grief that I have to carry every single day met my heart transplant recipient's family. It is not beautiful. And the grief is real, Mary. I hear you.
I relate as well. Like I with like obviously you guys are women, and my fiance, she's not vocal. She used to be, but I can tell this kind of like this ripped her up into a different person. And it's up to me to have the patience. It's up to me to keep her safe space. And I shoulder a lot for her so she doesn't ever have to feel like she needs to feel like that. And I can't imagine what it's like as even just, a mother. You guys carry the children, you guys have a different type of bond with the child that's going through this. I have a bond with my daughter. I love my daughter, but it's nothing like her carrying a child while seeing her child that she carried go through this. So it's like I want to take on that burden for her because like hearing you talk, Mary, and like how I feel for you. And like you are so strong. All you guys are we're all strong at the end of the day, but I relate to you and I feel you about the guilt and not being able like we're like I feel like I'm not doing them. We got out of the hospital and luckily Denise like helped us with the hotel, but we didn't have a home to go to after. Once everything was done, and my daughter never got to go back to her room. My son never felt like they were ever at home. So it's like we're still living in this tornadoes. That's why I'm so excited for this next step for them to be able to kind of feel home. Like there's not a lot of help out there. I've reached out to people, we've raised funds and stuff like that, but life is hard. Like we pay for a lot of different things, like the travel. We lived apart, paying two different bills, and like I'm paying most of it. Like I work 12 hours a day. I work two jobs for them, and I just feel like it's a lot. Like I'm trying to play catch up and I feel like am I even doing enough when I'm literally stretching myself so thin I can slip under a door. Like I'm trying to catch up from what we've been through to what we're going through and to where I'm trying to put us. I haven't felt this type of space in a while. Like you guys say, you have like I follow the hard pages on Facebook and stuff, and I've asked questions, but it's never up to par. I never feel like it's up to par because, like you said, I don't want to damper somebody else that's their journey is going good, or I don't want to feel like somebody's gonna compare what I'm going through with my daughter, or like like I don't feel like okay, like, am I a little scared of them feeling like, well, it's not so bad for you, or like, it's harder for, like, I don't want to get into like those spaces. So I just avoid, like you said, I run away. Like, hopefully it'll get better. And this is what it is. It sucks and it's draining. Every day is draining. Everything brings trauma. Like everything I see, like I've even see commercials of like hospitals and I feel like, oh my, I can't even. like, social media, I have to stay off of it because like I see these things and I feel it just like itching at me, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like this is like, when does it stop? Like when do I stop feeling like this? Like do I need a therapist? Like, or like things like that.
Yes.
I've
Yes.
never talked to a therapist. I've never went that route. I don't know anyone that's ever had a therapist. So it's like,
You know, two.
Well,
I
yeah,
know you know three.
four now.
of course. And
Denzel,
I'm
I want
glad
to.
now.
Therapy saved
And
my actual life. So
no,
I
definitely.
know.
This is definitely, I am so grateful for this, for you guys to be right here through my phone screen. But yeah, man, like I relate to you, Mary and Monique. Like just hearing the way you talk, Monique, and your experience, like it soothes me in a way where it's like, wow, like your strength gives me strength when I'm hearing you talk about your journey as well. Same with you, Mary. Like just you guys being so open about it, it's like rising me to a level, because when I first tried to start talking about my daughter's journey, it was hard to get the words off.
I want to just give you a round of applause being a dad going through this. Mary, I don't know how your husband is, but mine is kind of closed off and he's very like, I know he has to stay strong for me because like if he were to ever be afraid or like express fear, I'd probably really, really lose my mind. So the fact that you are able to open up, that you are able to talk, that you are holding it together and you think of your soon to be, I just want to tell you, you're
Thank you.
doing a great job.
Thank you.
echo that 1,000%. From the minute I met you, you have just impressed me to no end. You are so sacrificial for your family. You are on it. You take care of it. You are learning about Alina's condition. You are taking care of her so beautifully. And even when things super suck, you are holding it together and fighting for your family. And that is super impressive.
Thank you. I
Good job.
appreciate you guys.
You guys are
It's
all
not easy.
incredible.
It's hard. It's just so hard on so many levels.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys have experienced, so I have like a couple friends, but I feel like I have no more like friends after transplant. Like everybody has kind of fallen off, or maybe I've distanced because, like we said, like I can be like, oh, his oxygen stats were like, lower today. And they're like, no, so there's just but I will tell you guys something that has helped me. I keep my circle and I keep my friends, and sometimes even if I have to text Denise, like, I feel like shit. Am I allowed to say that?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think, like, just finding that time, Mary, maybe it could help you too. Maybe it can help you too, Denzel. It's just finding time for you too. And finding, even if it's just go grab coffee with a friend. And I know that like our lives are so chaotic that you never know when you're in a hospital, when you're not in a hospital. But it has helped me tremendously this last couple months because I have been doing that. Otherwise, I was going crazy in my own thoughts at home all day long.
Yeah.
Driving, do you guys ever drive and cry? Am I the only
Oh
one?
my
Hmm.
God. Yeah.
All the time.
Drive and cry. I'm like, "My God, what am I doing?" Or I'll just park in the car and sit there numb or cry because I never know, like, who do you pick up and call when you're having those moments? If I tell Denise, yes, if I tell anybody what I'm feeling in that moment, they're like, "Be thankful that he got a heart."
Exactly.
And that, I feel like that's almost like condescending too. Like, okay, I am, but that's not what I'm calling you.
No,
Yeah.
Like
I'm
I'm very
feeling.
aware. Like
Yeah,
I'm
and
there.
when I finally say like, "You will understand what we feel," when as a mom, I have to think of the fact that like, what if? All the what ifs are literally what haunt me every day. It's those what ifs
Mhm.
that make it me not wanna get out of bed some days.
Oh.
It's yeah. It
Mhm.
isn't like what's already been done, like, we've already been through the transplant, we've already gone through that part of it, it's all the what ifs or what's coming next. I find myself asking that almost daily, "What's next? What are we gonna be dealing with tomorrow? What is coming?" Because that's just how we think, and it's not negative, where a lot of people will say, "Monique, you're super negative." It's not, it's the reality.
It's realistic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Something's always coming.
I think one of the things I realized, and I realized for myself, and I realized talking to all of you guys, that the normals, the people who are healthy in this world, don't realize what it's like to live in a duality. And that's a gift to them. I mean, that's a gift. But the rest of us know that we can be grateful and know that this sucks all at the same time. And that's something that a lot of people just don't understand, that it's you have the ability to do both things. And I mean, God bless them that they don't have to worry about that. But
Like, even when you talk about like there's a lot of things we have to miss out on financially, right? Where everybody's like, they can do X, Y, and Z. They're going to Paris, they're going on vacations. And I'm like, I have to buy medications, guys. I have to pay for meds. We have a PPO. We like it is insane, our portion. And it's like then the guilt sets in too, like as a mom, because now, your heart healthy children, I feel like they miss out on so much life too because of all the challenges and things that stand in the way surrounding transplant. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know where we went. I don't know how. I'm still trying to navigate this only 2 years into the post transplant life. And I feel like I'm drowning. 90% of the time, I feel like I'm drowning.
I want to touch on something you all kind of mentioned during that. I think, that consensus of healthy people can't understand. It's kind of transplant is that gift that you never asked and you, given the choice, would never want to go through. It's the gift you
Never.
never really would want to receive if you got the choice, but it's, it's that duality of being a gift, but given the choice, we wouldn't want it in terms we would want to live a healthy, life and never
Mm-hmm.
had to experience that.